Regularly, we're going to want to emulate a mobile device so that we can test our app on the device. And to do that, we can use remote debugging. This is different to simply using desktop browser developer tools, because there may be features to a device or operating system that aren't available through a browser like Chrome. To test on a device emulator, we're going to want to set up an HTTP server, because we're not going to be able to simply open index.html, because we'll be using a remote source. So from the command line, we're going to want to install HTTP server globally. Then we can say HTTP server, pass a port, for example 8000. I always use the flag -c-1 because this avoids caching issues. So let's run this. And we have our HTTP server running. So now we can access our app on a device emulator. One example of this is a cross-browser testing platform such as BrowserStack. So we have access to many different devices and operating systems for mobile phones. Let's go ahead and open Samsung Galaxy S8 in Chrome. Let's enter our HTTP server address, and here's our app. On newer devices, we even have access to the dev tools, so we can debug in the same way that we normally would with Chrome. We can test our mobile app using device simulators available to us from our operating system. Using this method, we can be quite sure that what we're seeing is going to be the same as what our user's seeing. So let's open our HTTP server link in the iPhone 5S simulator in Safari. And here's our app. We can even use DevTools to debug this. Using Safari, we can head to the Develop menu, and inside Simulator, we can head to the relevant page, and here's our app. So we can use these DevTools to debug our app remotely through the simulator. Android Studio offers us an emulator for Android devices too. So let's head over to our page. In the Android emulator, we're using Chrome on a Nexus 5X device. And instead of using 127.0.0.1 as our address, we need to use 10.0.2.2 followed by the port. We can also debug this Android emulator in a similar way to the iOS simulator. It's just a little different. So if we go to the Devices section of Chrome, we can see the remote target that we set up here. And if we head to Inspect, we can use the DevTools to debug our app. Often we may want to debug our app using our phone so that there's no simulator or emulator involved. Sometimes this may not be possible because we can't access index.html from our phone, and we may not be able to access localhost directly from a phone. But there is a way around this. Let's check our server's still running. Now in a separate tab in our terminal, we're going to globally install ngrok. Once ngrok is on our path, we can type ngrok http and then the port number. And now we have remote URLs available to us. So if we were to access this URL from a phone, we would see our app. So I'm going to access this from my phone now. And here's the response. And now I can see our app on my phone so that I can test the usability of it to ensure that what I'm seeing through my emulators is what I'm going to see on the actual devices.